The moment you've all been waiting for. It is finally time to bake this bread that we've been working on for 2 days. All right, so this is my loaf that I'm going to do in my Dutch oven. And I've actually put it into the deep freezer for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so while the oven was preheating to try to make it a little bit easier to score. It could have used a little more time. It's going to be a little bit hard to score, but we're going to flip it out onto a bread mat. If you don't have a bread mat, you could always use parchment paper. And we're going to rub that flour in a little bit so it's not so caked up on there. Now we are going to get our X-Acto knife, which is what I use, or you can use a bread lom. As you can see, it's giving me a little bit of trouble in scoring. Another thing that you can do is go ahead and put it in your Dutch oven, put it in the oven for about 6 minutes, and then pull it back out and score it then. That seems to work really well also. It makes it a little bit easier to score. I'm just going to do a basic score. I don't go all fancy on these with all the pretty fancy designs like some people do. It's just bread. We're just going to eat it, so it doesn't really matter. And once I get that all scored, I am going to put it into my Dutch oven. Now this is not preheated, as you can see that I am touching it. We're going to just plop it in there and try to make sure that it's fairly flat in there. Now that wrinkled loaf doesn't look like it's going to become much. Once it kind of warms up a little bit, it kind of goes flat. But we are going to put some ice in with it, so that will help with the spring. Now we're going into a 450-degree oven, 25 minutes covered and 25 minutes uncovered. Okay, my Dutch oven bread is out of the oven. It's beautiful. And when you pull it out of the oven, you want to make sure that you get, before you pull it out of the oven, you want to temperature check it with, I just use a meat thermometer, stick it in there. It's got to be at least 200 degrees. If it's not 200 degrees or higher, 2 to 205, it's going to still be a little bit raw in the middle. So you want to make sure that you get that 200 degree reading. Like this. Now my bread mat, my Dutch oven is just a little small for this loaf, but it should pop right off once I get a hold of this bread mat. There we go. All right. It's so heavy. Here is our Dutch oven loaf. Of the bread mat. Bottom, kind of a weird triangle shape, but not burnt, so that's a good thing. We got a nice sound, nice crunch, and you want to make sure that you wait at least 2 hours before you cut into it. If you do not wait at least 2 hours for it to cool down before you cut into it, it's going to get doughy and yucky and gross in the middle, so you don't want that. So we're going to wait, we're going to let our other loaf finish baking, and then we will cut into this and look at the crumb after 2 hours. All right, I have just pulled this loaf out of the deep freezer here. It's been in the deep freezer the whole time that the Dutch oven loaf was cooking, so it got a little harder than I expected it to get, and it did give me a little bit of trouble coming out of that Banneton basket, but I did get it out eventually. I'll just cut that out so that y'all don't have to watch that. There we go. And now I'm just gonna make sure that it's flat in my greased loaf pan. And now I am going to score this loaf. Again, nothing fancy, just a simple score down the middle and a couple little stripes on the side for some design flair. That's as far as I go with design flair. I am not artistic in the least. And you know, the bread still comes out very tasty, and you know, all those fancy designs don't really make it taste any better. Once we finished scoring our loaf, we're gonna pop a couple of pieces of ice into our pan at each corner. That ice is going to create steam inside the pan and help our bread to rise, giving it that nice belly that we all love. Now we're going in the oven, 450 degrees, for 25 minutes covered, and then 25 minutes uncovered. Okay, our loaf is done. That was in the loaf pan, and since we sprayed it, it just comes right out, and it is beautiful and nice and crunchy. It should have that hollow sound once it comes out. I wasn't quite happy with the amount of color that I had on top of my Dutch oven loaf, so I just threw it back in the oven, just on the rack. I didn't put it back in the Dutch oven, and I'm just going to get a little bit more color on that just for a few more minutes. Each of these cooked at 450 degrees, and I do not preheat my Dutch oven. I put it in a cold Dutch oven. Don't preheat it. You can, while your oven's preheating, you can put your Dutch oven in there and let it preheat. But I don't like trying to get the bread down in there when it's really hot. I burn myself. I'm clumsy. It's not fun. So 450, 25 minutes with the lid on for both of them, and then 20 to 25 minutes with the lid off. Again, you're going to want to temperature check it, make sure that it's done all the way through. That will guarantee your time. If it's not, like this one, I had put in the deep freezer for a little bit to make it easier to score, and it wasn't quite done at 25 minutes. I think it ended up going like 30. So that's how long it should cook. You just kind of have to watch your time, adjust. I mean, everybody's oven is going to be different. And, you know, depending on if your bread's just been in the refrigerator or if you stuck it in the deep freezer or if it's been sitting out for a little bit, you know, it's going to take a little bit different amount of time. But we will get to cutting on these after they have both cooled, and I'll show you a crumb shot for the Dutch oven loaf. This one is going next door, so I'm not going to cut it open. That is it, and our bread is cooked. Hallelujah. 3 days worth of work. It's all worth it, I promise. Okay, the time has come. It's time to cut into this big beautiful loaf of bread that we've got here. And here it's still crunchy. It's got some oven spring to it. Just gonna give it a slice right down the middle here. One thing about sourdough, it is hard to cut. Alright, let's see here. That is how our crumb looks. Good. Now sourdough is more moist. It's going to be more moist in the center than a regular loaf of sandwich bread. So don't be alarmed when you cut open your bread and it feels a little moist. It smells delicious. Look at that nice little spring going on there. And now I do believe I'm going to eat myself a piece. Still slightly warm in the middle, so a little bit of butter, and it should be delicious. I hope that you have learned a lot from this tutorial, and if you don't mind, give me a like and follow, and I will post more sourdough content, cooking content. I'm thinking about doing a Sunday sweets series where we like to make cookies or cakes or something like that on Sundays, just to have around the house. So give me a like and follow, and we will see you there.